Hi, good evening. This is Starr today here on Star FM. You are welcome. Let's take a listen to the stories leading the pack this evening. And coming up tonight, Chief Justice, former Attorney General make frantic efforts to stop President Mahama and the Council of State from kickstarting constitutional processes to remove the CJ from office. Stay with us on Star today as we bring you the latest on the last gasp attempt by the embattled Chief Justice to halt the processes, plus hear from a private legal practitioner who has described as frivolous the suits by Old Tafo MP Vincent Ekowasefor attempting to stop the Council of State from proceeding with processes.
Why is Leonard Council beating about the bush? Why is he taking us to Article 557, Article blah, blah, blah? He's roaming around. It's like in law we say be fishing. He's fishing. He's going too much into the water to fish.
Also coming up, lives of patients at the Komfanoto Teaching Hospital in danger as doctors suspend surgery operations over a severe water crisis in the Ashanti region.
For the past 10 days, we've not had water supply from the Ghana Water Company. They had few operational challenges that, as of now, they've not been able to resolve. The latest challenge is that the main pipeline to the hospital says what that line has suffered a very major damage, and so water supply to the hospital has been curtailed.
We'll take you live to the health facility shortly for the latest on the escalating water crisis. And later, we ask whether the Mahama-led government has walked the talk in the fight against illegal mining following revelations that all galamseyers have been out from forest reserves in the Ashanti region.
Currently, there's no illegal mining going on at our various forest reserves. But so our forest reserves currently, we don't have any illegal miners operating within the forest reserve. We are tackling the area of forest reserves. From there, we can move to where people are on water bodies. From there, we can go to where there are road networks.
We hear from the Ashanti Regional Anti-Galamsey Task Force, who are calling on the Lands Ministry and the Environmental Protection Agency to immediately begin reclamation and planting of trees in the recovered forest reserves.
After you have packed them, if you don't reclaim the land, they'll go back. So that's what we are playing with the Lands Minister and our Regional Minister to look at how quickly we can let people to go and start reclamation work so that we can start planting trees in this forest reserve.
Now, as part of our Ghana Month series, we'll be highlighting and revisit some of the country's indigenous dishes that are disappearing from our home menus, cateries, and chop bars. Stay with us for the latest on this development, and we have more on this and many other stories in this broadcast. Do stay.
Star News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Cool 103.5 FM in Ho, Rage and Might FM in Tamale, Somali FM in Wa, My Star Radio in the USA. Also live on Facebook on Star 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Star 103.5 FM.
Thank you very much for your time this evening. This is Starr today here on Star FM, and is also streaming live on Facebook at Star 103.5 FM. I am Tutua Danso. Now, the embattled Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Isaba Tokonu and former Attorney General Godfred Yeboadame are making frantic efforts in a bid to halt the constitutional processes to remove the Chief Justice from office even before the Council of State begins its deliberations on the 3 petitions forwarded to it. Now, as you may already be aware, a letter from the Communications Directorate of the Presidency on Tuesday revealed that the President had forwarded some 3 petitions for the removal of the Chief Justice to the Council of State for consultation. And earlier today, Old Tafo MP Vincent Ekowasefor filed a suit at the Supreme Court challenging the president's referral, asking the apex court to declare the move null and void. And a few hours later, Starr News has cited a letter from the Chief Justice to the President and Council of State demanding she be made to respond to the petitions before the council proceed. Let's just come into the studio and have a conversation with my colleague Edem Kojo, who has details of that letter that we have cited. Edem, good evening. What is the CJ saying in the letter?
Okay, so apparently it's actually two letters that are in there. So there's a first letter that is copied to the President, Supreme Court, the President Association of Magistrates and Judges, and the President of the Ghana Bar Association. And it says request to be given copies of petitions submitted against Justice Gertrude Araba Isaba Sakitokono, Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, before conclusions of consultations between His Excellency the President and Council of State under Article 1466. And she's actually told them the people she had forwarded the letter to. So she forwarded the letter to the President, the Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, the Honorable Dua Jawu, who is Chairman of the Council of State and former Speaker of Parliament, and the Honorable Justice Sophia Ekufu, Member of the Council of State and former Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. Now she says, in the said letter, I humbly request for copies of petitions to remove me from office as Chief Justice. So apart from telling those that matter in the legal fraternity what she's done, let's now go and delve into the letter itself.
Okay.
The one she sent to the presidency and had copied the
former Speaker Dua Jawu,
the council
chairman right
of the Council of States, Dua Jawu, and then the former CJ. That is Justice Sophia Okufu.
Okay.
And in fact, she's copied the entire Council of State. So I go in and read. Now she says that, respectfully, on the night of Tuesday, 25th March 2025, a communication from the President was circulated on social media announcing that the President has received 3 petitions for my removal as Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, pursuant to Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution. The communication further stated that the President had forwarded the 3 petitions to the Council of State to commence the consultation process mandated by Article 146.6 of the 1992 Constitution. Now she goes on and says, respectfully, as you are in no doubt aware, it is the most fundamental precept of the common law and our constitutional dispensation ingrained into the justice delivery process that no consideration that affects the right of a defendant can be made unless the defendant has been given notice of the content of a charge and opportunity to respond to them. Further, no defendant can be subjected to a trial unless the preliminary process of receiving their response has been adhered to. This forms part of the age-old Odi Alterum Partem rule of natural justice and the fundamental rights of citizens under Article 19, Article 23, and Article 296 of the 1992 Constitution, and all decisions in Ghana's jurisprudence. Now, up to date, on 27th March 2025, which is today, I have not been shown the 3 petitions mentioned in the communication of 25th March 2025 or given an opportunity to respond to them, which material is expected to form the premise for the consultation between the Council of State and His Excellency the President under Articles 146.6 as to whether there is a need to set up the committee of inquiry described in Article 146.6 and 146.7 for the trial of any issues raised. Now, she goes on to say that, as you are aware, when a petition for removal of a Superior Court judge under Article 146.1 is forwarded to the Chief Justice, the first requirement of due process is for the Chief Justice to bring the petition to the attention of the accused judge and to obtain their response to the petition. This is the right afforded every citizen in justice delivery and is provided for in the Article 146 procedures. In my time as Chief Justice, I had handled 5 such petitions for removal of Superior Court judges and heard from them before determining whether a prima facie case has been made against them to merit the setting up of the investigative committee provided for under Article 146.4. It is the combination of the evidence in the petition and the response of the judge that guides the Chief Justice to determine as a sole inquirer under Article 146.3 whether a prima facie case has been established against the judge to merit the setting up of the investigative committee of 3 justices and 2 eminent citizens to conduct a hearing of the complaint against the judge pursuant to Article 146.4. Respectfully, in the case of the Chief Justice, please allow me to submit that it is a combination of the evidence of the petition and the response of the Chief Justice that provides the material for consultation between His Excellency the President and eminent members of the Council of State under Article 146.6. The 2 sources serve to guide whether a prima facie case has been established, such that a committee of inquiry shall be set up under Article 146.7 to inquire into whether the Chief Justice may be removed from office. This is the direction of the Supreme Court in the case of Ej Chum versus Attorney General and Akwete 2005-2006. I am, and I conclude by this, she says, I am by this letter humbly and respectfully asking His Excellency the President and any eminent members of the Council of State to forward the petitions against me to me and allow me at least 7 days of receipt of same to provide my response to you, which response can then be formed as part of the material that you conduct the consultations anticipated. So this is what the Chief Justice is saying.
Okay.
Give me the petition, give
me a
7
hearing.
days, and then before you can say whether a prima
I
facie
see.
case.
We will delve into that petition later. But before that, let's have a conversation now with a constitutional lawyer in the person of our lawyer, Raymond Bidima. Counsel, thank you very much for your time this evening. Now, before we delve into the letters that have flooded the media space today, I just want to find out from you, first of all, what you make of the entire attempt to remove the CJ from office.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Let me say a very good evening to you, listeners. I think impression that people are exercising their constitutional mandate as citizens of because within their that is by. Hello,
Counsel. Can you kindly position yourself properly so we can hear you? Your line is a bit jerky.
Is it okay?
It's okay now.
Very well. Let me take the opportunity to say a very good evening. It's a pleasure to have me on this line. And my first impression about the petition is the fact that the citizens are actually exercising their constitutional mandate in the right of the citizens to actually petition. If there is any cause for that petition, then it is within their right. So citizens are actually exercising their constitutionally mandated right.
Okay, Counsel, now before we delve into that letter from the Chief Justice asking to see the 3 petitions that have been forwarded to the Council of State members, let's first take a look at the suits that was filed by Vincent Koesi for the Member of Parliament for the Old Tafo constituency, who says that he's demanding that a declaration that upon a true and proper interpretation of Article 146, 1, 2, 4, 6, and 7, Article 23, Article 57, 3, and 296 of the Constitution, the President is mandated to notify the Chief Justice about a petition for the removal of the Chief Justice and obtain his or her comment and response to the content of such petition before referring the petition to the Council of State and so on and so forth. But I want to find out from you, really, where exactly in the Constitution, in Article 146, states that the Chief Justice must be notified prior to a petition against him or her?
Thank you so much. In the constitutional interpretation, we have the spirit and the letter of the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
So in the interpretation of the Constitution, it is not only the letter, but also the spirit of the Constitution. And the spirit of the Constitution are the unwritten words of the Constitution. So in his interpretation, maybe he felt, because there is no express provision of the Constitution to the effect that the President should notify the CJ.
Right.
So maybe I stand to be corrected in his interpretation, or he feels that is the kind of interpretation the Supreme Court can put on that, then maybe that is why he's going to the Supreme Court, because that is the apex court of the land, and that should be able to bring finality to this matter.
But could it be the case that he's invoking the natural principle of justice here?
the provision, the Constitution has provided for how a matter can be, how the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court can be invoked when an act which is supposed to contravene any provision of the Constitution provided for under Article 21 and 130 of the 1982 Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
So either he is actually going for, let's say, saying that the president is acting out of the natural justice principles, or what, he must still go and seek for an interpretation of the Constitution and see whether or not what the provisions that are in the Constitution are being acted upon in contravention of the clear provision of the 1992 Constitution. So in this case, what he sought to say is that if the Chief Justice is not given the opportunity or is not heard, then it is against her natural justice, because everyone must be given a hearing ear.
But I mean, let's just break this down. Does the fact that a petition has been referred to the Council of State or a committee mean that the Chief Justice has not been given a fair hearing or has not been heard for her side of the story?
Well, what the Constitution provided is that in matters of Chief Justice, the petition to remove the Chief Justice, what the President ought to do is to consult with the Council of State. That is the first step he ought to do. Why that? To be able to see whether or not there is a prima facie case made against the Chief Justice. And I think in the wisdom of the premise of the Constitution, so that they will be able to determine whether at all there should be even appointment of panel who will sit on the matter, because there may be a frivolous petition, and that will be a waste of everybody's time for the President to go ahead to appoint the panel to sit on the matter. I think it is because of this, that is why there is the need that the President, in consultation as a first step in determining whether or not there is a prima facie case made against the Chief Justice, to consult the Council of State.
Now, what then does the petition or the letter from the Chief Justice asking to be given the 3 petitions forwarded to the Council of States then signal in all of this?
For me, if you ask that, I think it is also within her right also to seek the clarification as to what the people are saying, or what is the her crime, for lack of a better word, for which reason they are seeking for her removal. So I think for her it will offer her the opportunity also to maybe respond when the time comes appropriately.
But is this in accordance with the law? This is something the President can use his discretionary powers to do, as stated in Article 296.
And the Article 296, in the exercise of the discretion of the President, that must be exercised within the remit of the law. It shouldn't be it should be exercised with the remit of the law. And so whatever the President will do, it must be in line with the 1992 Constitution. And where, even if the President himself acts out of the Constitution, a party can also go to court to declare that act of the President nullity. So the provisions of the Constitution is very clear. Safeguarding the President and also the rights of the citizens. So even though the Constitution empowers the President to do an act, that act is not without limit. It is an unfettered act. He must do those acts within the remit of the law, and that is what brings us under the ambit of what we call the constitutionalism, where the ruling class must, in their exercise of their right to rule, must rule within the remit of the law, or must rule with the predetermined norms that are existing. And what are some of those norms? That you can do this, you cannot do this. Even before you do this, it must be in line with, there is a procedure. And the procedure that has received the petition, then the President must act in consultation with what? The Council of State. So that is, the President must follow that procedure in whatever he does.
Now, let me just refer you to the earlier petition or the writ filed by the Member of Parliament for the Old Tafo constituency, who is asking the Supreme Court to adjudicate on this matter. Now, let's talk about a case that happened in 1995 to 1996, that is between the Ghana Bar Association versus Attorney General and Ano. which says that the court does not have the original concurrent jurisdiction, with the body empowered to exercise jurisdiction to adjudicate on matters properly falling within the parameters of Article 146 of the Constitution. I mean, paint a picture to me. If the Supreme Court is going to reference such a case or refer to this case study, what then becomes of this case of Vincent Kowasifo and then the Attorney General?
That it is. I understand where you are coming from. We need to appreciate the provisions of the Constitution, because you see, the Supreme Court held that you cannot read the Constitution in isolation. For you to be able to get the import of the Constitution, every provision of the Constitution must be taken as a whole in order for you to get the understanding of what the provisions of the Constitution. Now, if you look at, there is a procedure for doing a thing. And that procedure is that once you receive the petition, the first thing you have to do is to do a consultation. Now, if that procedure is not followed, then it means that whatever activity you are going to indulge in will be nullity. Do you understand what I'm talking about? So in this case, for me, I thought that maybe in my opinion, it may be premature for the Member of Parliament to go to court at this stage, because I don't know what actually the act of the president, which is ultraviolent, or which, if he does, will tend to prejudice the right of the CJ in this circumstance, and for which reason he has to go to court.
Now, Counsel, because you mentioned that Asifo's suit may be premature, I just want to draw your attention to another suit that has been filed by a private citizen asking seeking an order of injunction to restrain the president from proceeding to consult with the Council of State to determine the existence or otherwise of a prima facie case against the Chief Justice Gertrude Arabaisa Batokono, and also from consulting a committee to inquire into or make a recommendation on the purported petitions for her removal. Would you describe this as premature as well?
It is for the purpose of education. That is why we are going through this.
Absolutely.
So sometimes the opinion on the matter, that you see, what you have to go to court to seek to do, to injunct all those, it should be an act that is threatening somebody's right. It should be an act that seeks to contravene the clear provisions of the 1992 Constitution. Now, it is the provisions of the Constitution that when a petition is received by the president, then the president must do a consultation with Council of State. Now, is he going to say that what is in the 1992 Constitution is a contravention of the Constitution itself?
Right.
If yes, then fine, but otherwise, that is the laid-down procedure for which a president must follow, and the president is just acting according to the dictate of the Constitution, in my opinion.
Okay, so Counsel, going forward, we have one petition seeking to prevent the president from proceeding with this matter. In fact, two. And now we have the response from the Chief Justice, who is asking to see the petition. What do you think the future of this case looks like?
It's going to be very interesting, and I believe that is going to be very educative, because we will have the opportunities to get pronouncement of the Supreme Court on same. And you know that in this country, the Supreme Court is the highest court or the apex court of the land. And whatever pronouncement they make is actually the law. So I think it will be another exciting moment for all law students, all practitioners of the law, to have the understanding of all the provisions that are mentioned in the suit that is provided by that is presented by the Member of Parliament for Old Tafo.
Counsel, thank you very much for your time this evening. That was Raymond Bidima. He's a constitutional lawyer. Now, before we end this conversation, let's listen to private legal practitioner Wayoga Namanti, who says that the suit by Otafo MP Vincent Asifwa regarding the decision by President John Dramani Mahama to refer petition against Chief Justice to the Council of State as frivolous. I mean, the lawmaker in the suit accused President Mahama of breaching the law because he failed to notify the Chief Justice about the petition for her removal. But Mr. Ganamanti says the arguments by the MP is not tangible. He spoke to sister station GH1 TV.
Provision or a statutory provision is clear on the face of the document or the law, you don't go beating about the bush, referring to other provisions. Article 146 is very clear in clause 3 that when the removal of a superior, a justice of the superior court or a chairman of the regional tribunal, the president will refer that matter to the chief justice. It's not ambiguous. It's very straightforward. Article 143. If it's about any other Supreme Court judge or High Court judge or Court of Appeal judge, or maybe if you were operating the regional tribunal concept and it was chairman of the regional tribunal, that petition, the president is under clause 3 to refer to the chief justice. We'll move to 146 plus 6. It's very clear. When the removal is in respect of the chief justice, that is the leader, the president in consultation with the Council of State will set up a committee. How is Article 146 plus 6 ambiguous? Why is Learned Counsel beating about the bush? Why is he taking us to Article 557, Article blah, blah, blah? He's roaming around. It's like in law we say deep fishing. He's fishing. He's going too much into the water to fish.
Lawyer Wayogona Manti is a private legal practitioner. But let's delve into the other suit that has just come in about a few minutes ago that is seeking to prevent the president or seeking to injunct the president from continuing with the processes to consult the Council of State concerning the removal of the Chief Justice. Let me come into the studios and have a conversation with my colleague Edem Kojo, who has excerpt of that statement. Edem Kojo, what is contained in the suit?
So this suit is from a private citizen by name Ebenezer Osei Owusu, and basically he's in the courts challenging the Attorney General and the President with similar reliefs to that of the old Tafo MP. However, he adds some rather interesting reliefs that he's seeking, and so I would quickly jump to D, where he says the Supreme Court should declare that the petitions are null and void because because they failed to first furnish the Chief Justice with a copy or copies of the petition for removal and affording her the opportunity to comment on same. Now, E, an order of injunction restraining the President of the Republic of Ghana from proceeding to consult with the Council of State to determine the existence or otherwise of a prima facie case against the Chief Justice. Now, F, an order recalling or otherwise setting aside any petitions for removal of the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, Gertrude Araba Isaba Sagitogono, forwarded by the President to the Council of State. So this petitioner, that is Ebenezer Osei Owusu, is seeking an injunction that the President cannot proceed to do anything on the presidency he's worked on, and also consequently those petitions should be recalled from the Council of State and stated as null and void.
Very interesting. I believe that in the coming days we'll see how this pans out. But thank you very much, Edem Kojo. That is our head of the research desk here at EIB Network.
Starr Today. First, fast, and credible.
Now let's head to the Ashanti region, where the lives of patients at the Comfort Anoche Teaching Hospital are in danger after doctors earlier today suspended surgery operations over a severe water crisis in the region. Now this water crisis has made surgical operations unsafe and significantly disrupted the delivery of essential healthcare services. A statement signed by the head of the public affairs at the teaching hospital, Kwame Frimpong, stated that the hospital is working tirelessly to mitigate the adverse impacts of the ongoing water supply challenges and its operations. Let's go over the phone lines and have a conversation now with Kwame Frimpong. He is the public relations officer of the Comfort Anoche Teaching Hospital. Thank you very much for your time this evening. What exactly is happening with regards to surgery in the hospital? Hello, Mr. Frimpong.
Hello.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for your time this evening. Can you tell us exactly what has been happening at the surgical unit because of this water crisis?
Well, for the past 10 days, we've not had any water from Ghana Water Supply Company due to a number of personal challenges that they have.
I want to hear you correctly. For the past 10 days?
Yes, we've not had water from the Ghana Water Company Limited because of some operational challenges that they had. The latest one is a severe damage that their main line supplying the hospital and the adjoining communities suffered recently. And they've not been able to repair it. So for now, we are having to depend upon our boreholes and supplies from water tankers, which are proving to be inadequate, given the sheer size of our operations. So our sector minister, together with the Central Region Minister, are trying to get us additional water tankers. And hopefully, with that, the water supply situation might improve. The Ghana Water Company Limited is also exploring the possibility of diverting, rerouting, that's the term they use, rerouting supplies to us through another line. But they are yet to finish with that arrangement. So for now, we are solely dependent on the boreholes that we have, which the yields are not adequate because of our peculiar geographical location. We are on the top of a hill. So most of our boreholes are not yielding much. And then the water tankers that are serving us, they are even having problems with locating where they can get water because there's a general problem with water supply in Kumasi, some sections of Kumasi, because of the damage that has been caused to that main supply line.
But what I want to find out is if surgeries have had to be halted because of this development.
Most of our theaters are working, so definitely there are surgical services being rendered at the hospital. With the exception of the A&E theater, most of the theaters that we have, for a number of theaters at the hospital, they are using the water from those that will be getting from the water tankers. But of course, there are certain areas where even when you have water, they must flow at a certain pressure before they can be useful. So when you don't have the main supply and you are just having bits and pieces from the water tankers and the pressures are low, then definitely those areas will be affected. But by and large, we are operating though with some difficulty.
Now, earlier, we saw reports where it had indicated that some doctors were threatening to strike over this issue. Yeah. What is the latest on that?
Not to strike, but to suspend surgery.
Okay.
Yes, we've been engaging with them. Of course, we identify ourselves with their frustration. They come to work, they want to work. And then because of water supply challenges, some of their activities had to be curtailed. So we fully identify with their concerns. And that's why we're working day and night to make arrangements. But as you know, given the volumes that we need on our daily operations, we are over 10,000 on that small enclave. It's made up of staff, medical and nursing students, patients, visitors, and the rest. So we use a lot of water. On that, hundreds of medical procedures on a daily basis. All this require the use of water for infection prevention and control. So our water need is quite huge. And therefore, we understand when they vent their frustration is to be. But we've been engaging them, and I can tell you that we are operating, even though, as I said, a lot of difficulty.
But what I want to find out is there no dedicated water source for surgeries? Because in a delicate department in an entire regional teaching hospital, I mean, water supply shortage...
Every facility at the hospital has a mini reservoir in addition to the main reservoir. But I've indicated to you over 10,000 people living in an enclave with hundreds of medical procedures being conducted on daily basis. The water that you need is quite huge. And this hospital was not mandated and started and equipped to produce water. That's not our mandate. Mm-hmm. And so definitely we will not have the same capacity to produce water as Ghana Water Company, which has the nation's mandate to do that work. Ours is to provide specialist care. We are doing the best that we can on our own. We have boreholes. I've told you, because of our geographical location, the topography is said that we're on a hill. So about 5 to 6 wells that we have, they are not even yielding water as we speak. Mm-hmm. So we've done the best that we can within our resources, and we are having to support it. I mean, it's 10 days, please. It's been 10 days since we last got water. We should even be praised for holding the fort till now.
Okay. Now, you tell me that the Ghana Water Company is undertaking some rerouting exercises, and also you've asked for the intervention of the relevant authorities in that region. But in the interim, what can you do to salvage the situation?
We will do what we can before we get the water that we get. We cannot squeeze water out of stone. We've made our challenges very clear to the authorities. We've come around. Solutions have been perfect. We've asked that a special appeal be made to the nation for the construction of a dedicated line exclusively to the hospital, so that we do not have to share water with the surrounding communities and other suburbs along the supply line. We also think that given what we are seeing now, we've never had to wait for 10 days without water. It's usually a day or two or three. Our reserves are able to cope with that. Now, given this incident, we think that the hospital's water reservoir, the main one, has to be expanded so that in future, if this should happen, not be having difficulties. And that's the responsibility of the district.
Okay. And since you reached out to authorities, how has their level of response been?
Very swift. They've identified with the issues raised. And as I told you, our minister, Honorable Akando, is not even in the country. He has reached out to us, he has reached out to his colleague, the Central Regional Minister, who has also reached out to us. And they jointly directed that water tankers within the system should be mobilized to come and help the situation.
All right. Thank you very much for speaking to us. That was Kwame Frimpong. He's the public relations officer of the Komfanoche Teaching Hospital in the Ashanti region. And still in the region, the once dreaded forest reserves in the Ashanti region, once a safe haven for illegal miners and their armed thugs, have now been secured by the state. Well, this is according to the Ashanti Regional Task Force, who have detailed how successful they have been able to flash out illegal miners from the region's forest reserves. Now, the Ashanti region has gained notoriety for being one of the worst affected areas by galamsey in the country. The devastation has led to widespread pollution of water bodies and environmental degradation. The once crystal clear rivers, home to some of the powerful gods of the land, have turned a brown milky color, easily mistaken for a large pool of chocolate drink. Now, however, the fight which once seemed hopeless has now been won. Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator Captain John Kwame Jabari, retired, tells my colleague Sewami here that although the battle wasn't easy, the forests have been cleared of illegal mining activities. He also revealed the next steps in the efforts.
Currently, there is no illegal mining going on at our various forest reserves. But so our forest reserves currently, we don't have any illegal miners operating within the forest reserve.
Okay,
but there's
so
mining going on.
So
And
for
the reason
clarity's
why
sake,
this is because what we are doing, we have phased it into various phases. So we want to tackle it one after the other. So what we did was that we are tackling the area of forest reserves. From there, we can move to where people are on water bodies. From there, we can go to where there are road networks. And then from there, we can clear the rest of them. So the first phase of the operation was to clear people who were operating within the forest reserves, which was very dangerous for our future. So currently, with the help of the police, the military, Mineral Commission, EPA, they'll be able to clear everybody from the forest reserves. And by next week, we'll be sending the media on a tour to all the forest reserves to show them the work that we have done, and that there's no activities going on over there.
Okay, when you say that you've been able to clear everybody, how many people were there?
It depends on the forest reserves you are talking about. There were a lot of them. So,
but give me a rough figure. How many people have you been able to clear from the forest reserves? All of them. How many forest reserves, first of all, did you clear them from? How many were they?
I think in Ashanti region, the forest reserves which were under attack of illegal miners were about 6 of them.
Okay.
There were about 6 of them. And when you look at the history of what happened before the book got there, most of them were there before December 2027. So what we did was after December 2025, we started the operations. We have all the 4 forest reserves which were in Kawi at Mamponi area. We have cleared almost everybody from that site. I think we see some machines, see some vehicles and some weapons from them. We went towards the Bekwai area, which was also under attack. We were able to clear some of the miners. We have seized some of their equipment. And most of these equipment have been sent to the RCC, which is under our custody as of now.
Okay.
So clearly,
please go ahead.
So clearly, in the forest reserves now, there's nobody over there. But when you go to some of the communities and water bodies, you can see some people doing it. But we want to do it phase by phase so that we don't get confused in the fight against the illegal mine.
That was the Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator, Captain Kwame Jabari, retired. Now, let's still stay on this development because the task force also appealed to the Lands Ministry and the Environmental Protection Agency to immediately reclaim and plant trees in the recovered forest reserves.
I must be frank that this destruction didn't start 3 months ago. Some are far back, a year ago, 6 months ago, 7 months ago. And we have used 3 months to clear everybody from these forest reserves. And I think the government must be commended for even having the political will to fight these illegal miners within the forest reserve. So the operations have not even yet started yet. We are still looking at how we can tackle the various phases. But currently, we have used the military, the police, forestry officials to clear those in the forest reserves.
Okay,
that we had,
Captain Jabari, how confident are you that these illegal miners will not go back to the forest reserves?
So that comes to the second phase of the operation.
Okay.
After you have packed them, if you don't reclaim the land, they'll go back. So that's what we are playing with the lands minister and our regional minister to look at how quickly we can let people to go and start reclamation work so that we can start planting trees in this forest reserve. As you are aware, last week the president was in our region, and then he was able to launch a reforestation initiative with the Forestry Commission. So what we are looking at that as we have cleared them quickly, we have to start the reclamation efforts so that the illegal miners will not have the opportunity to go back. They will be able to cover all the holes that have been done. Then we can start planting some trees there. Then life can come back to those forest reserves. So that's what our plea is, that the government should help us so that we can start with reclamation efforts within these forest reserves that we have fought. Because if we don't start with that, the miners might go back again.
Captain John Kwame Jabari is the Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator. Let's still stay on this development and have a conversation now with the President of the Concerned Small Scale Miners Association of Ghana, Michael Pepra. Thank you very much for your time this evening, Michael. Now, the fight against illegal mining in the Ashanti region has taken a whole new twist. I mean, the task force says that they've been able to flush out all illegal miners from the forest reserves. Is that a good step?
First of all, let me extend my greetings to your listeners and your viewers. As a matter of fact, as a Ghanaian, everybody is against the destruction of our various forest reserves and then the pollution of our various water bodies. So as a legal small-scale miner who is a Ghanaian, at least the interest of the country first. So whatever is going on, we are happy. And at a point in time, we gave some information to the Security Coordinating Council on how best these criminals can be flushed out of the various forest reserves. So it's a thumbs up to them, and we will hope that they will keep on with this operation, especially people who are mining in our various forest reserves with impunity.
Now, what about the water bodies? Because you said that you had given them some advice on how they can flush out illegal miners from the forest reserves. What about the water bodies?
As with the water bodies, I think because it was a dry season, a lot of these people have gone on a break. So we, with government, are developing a new strategy. Recently, government launched the Blue Water Project by inaugurating over 400 people who are going to man these various water bodies. As a matter of fact, we are going to have a meeting with the sector minister on how best we can as well augment the task force already with government to make sure that these water bodies can be protected. In so doing, we are going to help government with some personnel, especially with people who are also going to be whistleblowers and people who have gained enough experience on how best these criminals who are destroying our water bodies operate. So when we collaborate, I think going forward, we can make some impact in the country. We'll see how best we've all collaborated in trying to protect our various rivers.
Okay, but beyond the Blue Water Guard, what other strategy are we looking at? Because at least for the Ashanti region, if indeed what Captain Retired John Kwame Jabari said is indeed true, that they've been able to flash out illegal miners from about 6 forest reserves in that region alone, and that they're looking at planting of trees to reclaim the lands. What about the water? I mean, what can we do beyond the Blue Water Guard initiative?
I think we have told government that his approach to solve or fight this problem should be based on management. Because the moment you are seen to fight the problem will fight back. That is a mistake we made, or that is the mistake the previous government made. So when they realized that Galamsey was fighting back, they had to just revolve and as well doing people who were put in position to help fight this problem, rather engaged in the problem, because the problem defeated the fight government had waged on Galamsey. So we have retreated and we have told the minister that this time around we should try to manage the issue. Managing in a sense that why are people engaging in Galamsey? Okay, we can fight Galamsey by using alternative livelihood projects. We can fight Galamsey by understanding the problem. Why are a lot of people not trying to get the requisite license to mine so that they can mine responsibly? Look, Ghana can benefit from this good era. A lot of countries are doing the right thing. And as a matter of fact, the country is benefiting. Even Nigeria, as we speak now, are engaging in small-scale mining. Cote d'Ivoire, our neighbors, are engaging in small-scale mining. Burkina Faso are engaging in small-scale mining. And Ghana, being the leader when it comes to mining, is facing a problem. That means there's a managerial crisis. We shouldn't always wage war on a problem. This is a socio-economic problem. People want work to do. People are just in the house. The youth are just in the house, and sometimes they cannot sleep on the boat and go hungry. So what do we need to do? Okay, if it is licenses they need, let's give them the license. If the problem is monitoring, let's put in much effort on the monitoring sectors. This is how best we can easily fight the problem. But it's unfortunate. Whenever we are talking about illegal mining, we call in professors who does not understand the problem to give us solution. And this is the reason why, previous governments spent 200 million and yet we couldn't achieve even 0% of the problem. In a sense that, look, when we tell them the practical solution, they intend not to listen to whatever we say. When we told them, look, this is the problem, this is a problem we can manage. It's a managerial problem. We don't need to fight it, because the moment you fight it, the two will fight back. They said they were going to use drones. You remember we bought drones, we bought Galam Stop application, we brought in the Hot, Vanguard, and yes, we didn't achieve anything. So we are only telling government that this time around, you should let us have a dialogue. At least we'll bring some practical measures that can easily help us solve this problem. Look, a lot of people don't even understand the reason why even government is chasing them. They think, they have the gold. It's from their family land, and for that matter, they can mine with impunity. Okay, fine. Let's conscientize them. Look, what you are doing, you are degrading the forest, you are degrading the lands. We want you to come on board. Government is initiating something we call cooperative mining. Come together, form a cooperative. Let's find people who have gone to school to help you people to mine sustainably and responsibly. This is how best we can easily manage the problem. But in our era, everything is fight. When you bring the military, after some time, it becomes business as usual. And that is something that we've been doing, and we've been getting the same failure result. So we expect the minister, Honorable Amakufibua, he has started with some good notes, and at least we are watching him closely. And we pray that this time around they will involve the small-scale miners. We will sit down and have a comprehensive approach, so that in so doing this time around, at least if you're able to solve this problem 20%, trust me, Ghana will benefit from the gold, and the destruction of our forests and water bodies will reduce drastically.
Okay, but we know for a fact that some of the small-scale miners who happen to be your members were also mining in these forest reserves, and so I just want to find out from you: are you happy with the fact that all of them have been flushed out, including these licensed small-scale miners?
Listen, this is the reason why we are calling for the sack of AEC, the Minerals Commission CEO. He needs to be sacked if indeed government wants to fight this problem.
You want Mr. AEC to be sacked?
Yes, with immediate effect.
For what reason exactly?
Let me tell you why. Look, these various forest reserves, okay, what is happening in there is part of the problem, in a sense that people are mining with impunity in these various forest reserves. The first time I even heard that a forest reserve, they have gone to launch community mining in a various forest reserve. When I saw that, I was so scared. You understand? These are the people who are manning the issuance of licenses in the various offices.
Mm-hmm.
So if indeed we want to curb Galamsey, and you go and launch what's the name, community mining scheme in the various forest reserve, then are we kidding as a country? And we want to fight Galamsey. Yes, the same person who have compounded the issue is still there. Look, Lake Busomche is a restricted area. It's a natural something that we need to preserve.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a situation where the restricted area, there are some licenses within that restricted area which shouldn't be so. Look, there are various forest reserves, per the act, per the mining laws, you cannot engage in small-scale mining in these various forest reserves. Yes, so you can see that some various forestry, there's small-scale mining license in there. And that is the handwork of the Minerals Commission. So if indeed the problem has compounded, and as a matter of fact, we want a practical solution, that person should be sacked with immediate effect. But as we speak now, government is trying to fight the problem. But yes, still, the people who are corporate are in their various offices and they are taking salary. And as a matter of fact, they are engaging in the same illegal act. So we call on government to sack with immediate effect if indeed we want to, we want to exhibit enough goodwill in the fight against Galamsey.
Okay, Michael, I just need some clarity. Are you accusing AEC of being complicit in the destruction of the ecosystem?
Yes, exactly so. And these are the reasons why I've given you.
Okay.
The reason being a lot of Galamsey activities that is going on in the various forest reserves is from the Minerals Commission. You know why? Before even forestry can give you an entry permit, it is Minerals Commission who will give you, let's say, a concession in the forest reserve. 44 forest reserve that has been destroyed is from the Minerals Commission. And we will not blame anybody than to blame AEC because he is the CEO of the Minerals Commission. And all these activities, he is the one supervising it.
But, it's been 3 months since President Mahama was sworn into office. He sacked a lot of the CEOs of the various agencies in the country. But AEC is still at posts. What for you does that signal?
Honestly speaking, we don't really understand. Because if indeed, government, the Honorable Minister is doing the fantastic work. He listens to us. He has had engagement with us. And from from the indication, he will succeed. But he cannot succeed once AEC is the CEO of Minerals Commission. That is a fact. Because Nanado even promised us he was going to put his presidency on the line. If you remember, the same Nanado elected AEC or appointed AEC as a CEO. AEC was a cabinet minister who was advising Nanado. Nanado has lost the election, and AEC is still at post. What knowledge does he have in trying to help the countries to solve this problem? Of all the 8 years, he couldn't bring about a practical, comprehensive solution to help in curbing Galamsey. And yet still, another party is in power, and the person is still at post, as if he can help us achieve the best the nation is looking at. So please, AEC has done is yes, you should be sacked. Let's bring about new people, new ideas, so that at least this time around, Ghana would see the improvement on the small-scale mining sector.
I believe this won't be the first time that I mean, people are asking or calling for the head of AEC, but in the event that Muhammad decides to keep him at post, what will you do as an association?
As a matter of fact, we will take some decisions if he's still there. In the sense that every time people talk about Galamsey, they point fingers at small-scale miners. We have told government where the problem is coming from. So it is government to investigate whatever we are saying. I hope you understand me. So if government does not, do the needful, and they blame small-scale miners, that is where we also come out and bring up some of the truth to just salvage the image of our members.
And now I'm very interested when you say that you're going to bring out some of the truth, because I believe this is in the interest of the entire nation. What are some of the truth that you're talking about, Michael?
I don't want to put the cart before the horse. Because government is new, and we are just looking at him just to do the needful by sacking AEC. As a matter of fact, if he's sacked, everybody will see the importance of the sack of AEC. As a matter of fact, if government says, he's going to keep him, no problem. It will get to a time we will all come and speak, and people will understand what we are saying now.
Thank you very much for speaking to us. Michael Pepa, he's the president of the Concerned Small Scale Miners Association. Now, the executive director for the Eco-Conscious Citizens, while acknowledging the efforts made, say the information churned out by the task force needs to be verified.
The information we get needs to be verified. The information needs to be verified. We're told a while back that 7 out of the 9 had been reclaimed. But we have, trusted journalists on the ground, including Erastus Asare-Donko. So we need to verify the information, and we need to find out whether some or all have been cleared. You recall that a couple of days ago, the Forestry Commission officers went to one of the forest reserves. They were attacked, and one person is fighting for his life. So the point being made is that, you can go there and clear some of them. It does not necessarily mean that they have all been cleared. And also, even if that is the case, they may find a way of coming back. So all I'm saying is that we are not going to say that we don't commend the efforts. We commend the efforts, but we need to verify the information. We need the names of every single forest reserve that has been that we are told has been cleared, and then we need to verify the information because it does not appear that it is always the case.
Interesting. And so, in this case that we are told that, yes, it's all been reclaimed, and then illegal miners have been flashed out, 17 people have been arrested, and now they are chasing the financiers behind these operations. What more can we do?
Well, what we can do is that we need to ensure that the forest reserves are completely cleared. Because as I've just said, we're told 7 out of 9 have been cleared a while back by the land minister. Forestry Commission officers went there. They were attacked. And I believe one person is fighting for his life. So obviously, if they were attacked, it means that the environmental terrorists were still there. So they couldn't have been completely cleared. So what we need is to verify the information. And it's a very good thing that we are tracing the owners of the excavators in order to deal with them as well.
Awulase was executive director for the Eco-Conscious Group. Now, the coalition of civil society organizations, including Arocha Ghana and the Wassa Association of Communities affected by mining, are calling on the government to prioritize dialogue with local communities and ensure fair compensation during compulsory land acquisition for development projects. The CSOs believe that this approach is vital to addressing the concerns of affected communities and ensuring that their voices are heard.
Compulsory land acquisition allows the government to seize private land for public purposes such as mining, oil and gas exploration, or infrastructural development. However, this practice can sometimes undermine free, prior, and informed consent, leaving local communities feeling coerced into surrendering their land. In response, a group of CSOs is urging the government to engage in meaningful consultations with affected communities and provide equitable compensations. Associate Executive Director of the Wasa Association of Communities Affected by Mining, Hannah Owusu-Cranton, lamented the negative effects of this issue.
Our situation is very different from the situations of countries in the Eastern Africa, Southern Africa, where lands were acquired under colonial or apartheid rules. Bills, if they had gone through, would have given the authority of the colonial administration to manage our lands. They fought against it, and so we were saved that calamity.
Meanwhile, Deputy Director of Irocha Ghana, Darrell Bosu, stated that fair compensation during compulsory land acquisitions is the way to go.
The state should not only talk and also sign or try to agree with international conventions on FPEC, but the state should also be seen to be enforcing and implementing FPEC in the extractive sector so that everybody within the value chain can have some safeguards that is appropriate.
The coalition of CSOs include Irocha Ghana, Wasa Association of Communities Affected by Mining, Center for Public Interest Law, Oxfam, themed Rethinking Compulsory Land Acquisition, and FPIC in the extractive sector, ensuring equity, environmental sustainability, and inclusive development.
Starr Today. First, fast, and credible.
Let's talk about politics now, because the parliamentary candidates for the National Democratic Congress in the Ablekuma North constituency, Irabna Obin, has expressed disappointment at the unresolved issues surrounding the parliamentary dispute that has characterized her election as MP. While expressing optimism that she won't come out of the situation, she hopes the situation is resolved promptly. She made this known when the Supreme Court adjourned the parliamentary dispute application, in which the NDC is challenging the High Court orders to the Electoral Commission to collate and declare outstanding results, with Ablekuma North suspended.
The controversy surrounding the disputed parliamentary constituencies are not over yet. The Supreme Court was expected to hear the applications or the requests from NDC side in relation to the mandamus application filed, with the High Court indeed granted, which led to the EC compiling outstanding polling station results and declaring some of the constituency, with the Ablekuma North specifically pending. When the matter came up, it has been adjourned sine die, because upon the violation of the EC submission, the NDC is of the considered view that there are certain interesting matters that have been raised by the EC that they ought to respond to that. Here, counsel, one of the lawyers of the NDC side, Gideon Abuchi.
If you look at the EC statement of case, they have made some legal arguments there that has to do with the EC having implied powers to do a few things. Those are things that we disagree with, and we need to respond to them on paper. So that is the essence of our application for extension of time to respond to those things.
How key are those issues to your the determination of your case?
They are very key. They are very key, and that's all I can say for now. We leave the rest to the court. You're welcome.
One of the candidates who was actually affected in this whole matter is Irabna Obin of the Ablekuma North constituency. She's been speaking to me about how life is within this period.
It's rather unfortunate that the EC hasn't said anything so far. Very disappointing, considering that they are an institution or a body that's supposed to give leadership or give direction. But the issue is in court too, so I think we should allow the court processes to take its course, and then we'll see the outcomes. Thank you.
How is this one impeding on your political career?
Well, I think it's life, and all of these things come with it. You can't really predict tomorrow, but I know it will end well. These are some of the challenges. I mean, politically or not, you do get challenges or setbacks along the way, so it's fine. I'm fine. Thankfully, I have, beautiful support from the constituency, family, friends, and so we are fine.
To such time that the decision will be made, the controversy still live, as the EC is yet to make a firm decision in relation to these disputed parliamentary elections. From the Supreme Court of Ghana, Mutala Inusa, GH1.
And in the studio, I'm Tutua Danso. Now, the Minister of Trade, Agribusiness and Industries, Elizabeth Ofuswejare, has reiterated plans by the government to create an enabling environment for business growth. This follows revelations by the World Bank that it takes some 900 days to settle business-related disputes. According to the Business Ready report, a stable economic environment with strong legal and regulatory framework is essential for success of businesses. The minister says this report will offer a unique opportunity to address the challenges that hinder business environment while building and creating an ecosystem where businesses can thrive. Well, she spoke during the presentation of the Business Ready report by the World Bank in Accra.
Our informal sector, which employs a significant portion of our workforce, often operates outside the formal regulatory framework, limiting their potential for growth. This is where Be Ready comes in readily. By leveraging on the reform imperative of Be Ready and building on our successes, we can create a business environment that is not only efficient, but also fair, predictable, sustainable, and unlocks new opportunity for growth and development. The Be Ready initiative, launched by the World Bank as the successor to the Ease of Doing Business, is not just a set of metrics, it's a roadmap for creating a business environment that is inclusive, sustainable, and digitally driven. The Be Ready offers a unique opportunity to address the challenges that hinder our business environment while building on our strength. It is not just improving rankings, it is about creating an ecosystem where businesses can thrive, where innovation is encouraged, and where every business in Ghana has the opportunity to succeed. Ladies and gentlemen, as we gather here today, let us remember that the success of business environment reforms in Ghana depends on our collective commitment to reform. Let us embrace this initiative not as a burden, but as an opportunity where businesses can grow and where our nation can take its rightful place for our youth entrepreneurship, innovation, value addition manufacturing, job creation, inclusive growth, and prosperity for all.
Now, manager of the Be Ready unit of the World Bank headquarters, Valerie Perotti, revealed the country is partially business ready in terms of its regulations framework.
Our take home is that for Ghana to achieve even higher rates of growth, it needs to become business ready. To do that, it needs to improve its business environment. The report shows that Ghana is performing well in some areas, such as utility services or business insolvency, but has still some work to do in other areas we have discussed today, particularly business entry and also market competition, for example. The report shows that Ghana is partially business ready. It's 2/3 business ready on regulatory framework. It's about half business ready on public services and operational efficiency.
Now, the Chief Executive Officer of the Association of Ghana Industries, Seth Chumakwabwa, also had this to say.
We are going to look at the reports, and clearly there are certain areas that Ghana seems to be doing pretty well. There are certain areas that we seem to have comparative advantage and our business environment is better. And there are several areas where we need a lot of improvement. So we need to look at the report and look at the areas where we are falling short and then work with government. For us, we are advocates. So we push government to and the agencies around government to do the right thing so that we see improvement in those areas. You know, World Bank was doing the doing business report, and they had some challenges. Now today they've come out with a business ready report. So this is the first time we are doing it, and therefore I'm sure a different criteria has been adapted. So we have to monitor it for a while before we see the improvement that we are expecting. So as you said, it's still quite young, early part of the year. Let's see how it goes by the end of the year, so that the next year's report we will then check and see whether we have seen some improvement, specifically in the areas that we fell short.
Now, residents of the Yapei electoral area in the Savannah region have expressed concerns about the lack of waste bins at dumping sites and the poor condition of public toilets. This deterioration has led to increased open defecation and improper waste disposal. They contend that the district assembly's failure to replace damaged waste bins has resulted in significant littering, particularly with plastic waste. As a result, residents are urging the assembly to provide a new waste bin to address these issues. This report has the rest of the story.
Alima and Ataliatu are residents of the Yapei community, which is overwhelmed by plastic waste. According to them, the community lacks both a public toilet and a designated dumping site. They mentioned to GH1 News that they dispose of their waste behind their home and use the toilet at a nearby public school when they need to attend to nature's call.
We don't have the place we are throwing rubbish. Our house, there's JHS there, but they have toilets. That's the way we used to go. Look at the way the rubbish are.
Our toilet is just here. We are throwing rubbish in our house, just in the middle. But we don't have the place that we throw our rubbish in.
Yapei is the second largest commercial town in the central Gonja district of the Savannah region. Unfortunately, the community is overwhelmed with plastic waste. Many households dispose of their waste in open areas and also practice open defecation at designated dumping sites. As a result, the wind carries much of the plastic waste into nearby homes, and during the rainy season, refuse from dump sites close to the White Volta Lake is washed into the river, along with various plastic bags. The market remains unkempt on busy days due to the lack of waste bins for proper collection. Residents are unhappy about the situation.
We do mobilization and clean around our own houses. But after it, where will you put it? The assembly should have provided with a container so that after you clean your house, you put it, they'll come and take it. Unless you burn it. Sometimes you burn it, the whole day, the smoke will not go.
My area, for instance, where the public toilet is where the refuse dump is. So during at night, others don't go inside. They will just be doing it around the refuse place, of which during rainy season, hardly for you to bypass it. I wish the government could assist with some dustbins.
Idi Camille, the presiding member and assemblyman for the Yapei electoral area, told GH1 News that financial challenges have halted essential sanitary projects in the region. He emphasized the urgent need for action to resolve these issues and restore progress in the community.
Our community members used to burn the refuse. So those who gather this refuse, what they do is that in order to reduce the refuse in the container which spill over, they just burn the rubbish in it. And so it affects the metal and eventually perforated the whole container, with the notion that they will come and replace us with a new one, and that hasn't happened. The challenge with this open defecation is that it isn't that we don't have toilets. All the areas have public toilets, but these public toilets are very old. Most of them are full and people don't want to go inside them again. And so we have complained to authorities to support us. Up to now, that has not come to fruition.
Assemblyman Idi Camille announced that the Yapei Youth Association will take decisive action by launching a major cleanup exercise in the electoral area immediately after Ramadan.
Now, in the wake of the alarming rise in substance abuse, particularly known widely as RED, the Ministry of Youth and Development and Empowerment has launched the Ghana Against Drug Initiative to combat the growing menace and protect the nation's youth. With drug abuse becoming a major concern across the country, government in collaboration with stakeholders is taking proactive measures through its RED Means Stop initiative, aimed to raise awareness, provide rehabilitation support, and implement preventive strategies to curb the spread of opioids addiction, especially among young people. There are more details in this report.
In recent months, distressing videos showing young people in zombie-like states due to drug abuse have flooded social media. The chilling phrase, winning red, has become a disturbing trend among the youth, signaling the growing opioid crisis. The opioids, commonly referred to as Red or Red 225 on the streets, were originally intended to be strong painkillers. However, they've now become a cheap and highly addictive drug, drawing many young people into a dangerous cycle, especially in deprived communities.
Ministry of Health acknowledges with deep concern the rising prevalence and profoundly damaging impact of opioid abuse affecting the young people of Ghana. Of particular alarm is the emergence and then the insidious spread of the street drug named Red. This substance poses grave health risk and carries the potential of rapid addiction and severe life-threatening complications for its users.
To combat this growing menace, the Ministry of Youth Development and Empowerment has launched a national anti-drug campaign aimed at safeguarding the youth from substance abuse. During the launch, Sector Minister George Opariado emphasized the urgent need for proactive measures to save lives.
As a nation, we cannot stand by idle and witness the erosion of our youth's promise and potential. The Red Means Stop campaign is not merely about raising awareness, it is about saving lives. In collaboration with Entertainment Week Ghana, we are launching this initiative to directly combat the Red epidemic and other harmful substances permeating our communities. Our mission is clear: to educate, empower, and mobilize Ghanaian youth to make informed, drug-free choices that safeguard their future.
The minister further stated the campaign will be extended to institutions of learning, particularly tertiary schools, which have become hotspots for substance abuse.
We don't intend to remain in plush offices or conference rooms like this. We will take the campaign to where the drugs are. The epicenter currently are in our tertiary institutions, our universities, and we'll be going there. Our secondary schools. If you listen to the Minister of Interior, only 6 schools profiled in the northern region. About 64% of them, one way or the other, have experimented with one drug or the other. And so we will not remain in our offices in Accra. This is more serious than the fight against Galamsey, because this affects the human resource of the country.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Education, National Youth Authority, Narcotics Control Commission, and the Food and Drugs Authority will spearhead a task force focused on sensitization, prevention, and rehabilitation. The initiative will also introduce alternative livelihood programs for youth affected by substance abuse.
You may be wondering about the extent to which some indigenous dishes are disappearing from our home menus, eateries and chop bars. As part of our Ghana Month series, we've been highlighting and revisiting some of these traditional dishes. My colleague, Hajia Fatih Karim, explores more in this report.
Food is more than just what we eat. It's a reflection of our culture, our history, and our identity. From generation to generation, Ghanaian cuisine has evolved, preserving the rich flavors that define who we are. There are some indications that some of our indigenous diets are yielding to contemporary continental dishes, making them less popular on various menus in various homes and restaurants. Did some of these go away with our grandparents or our parents less interested in such indigenous dishes due to globalization and extreme westernization? A question for the gods. Ghanaian cuisine is diverse, rich, and full of history. Yet, some meals have faded away. I took to the street to ask people if they could recall any local foods they no longer see today.
Some of the food that it has been there before, some of our local dishes. We may say it in fancy like mputamputo. It's very, very, very nutritious, easy to prepare. Compared to these days, the only food that we know is the spark, fried rice. Those food doesn't contain a lot of things that give us a lot of strength and energy. And this time, there are a lot of fertilizer. Those days, it's fresh out of the backyard. Food like bancha pese and kontomire is one of our local food. These days, it's harder to come by.
There's more.
We have lots of Ghanaian dishes. We have foods like mchichira. We use maize in cooking it, and granite is added to it when eating. We also have a mudokon, which we grill, but you can also boil it, and we wrap it with green leaves.
To get a true picture of some of the near-extinct indigenous dishes, a septuagenarian market queen at Sekindi Market, Nanakura the First, has been walking Empire News through some of such foods.
Nowadays, I've seen people not preparing often in their homes is amete or a pirijai. When preparing amete or a pirijai, unless you get palm nut soup, which contains lots of ingredients like crab, river snails, beans, and kaku. This food gives a lot of vitalities and energy to the body, so it's a unique food to prepare for your entire family once in a while.
She further traces what may be accounting for the extinct nature of such indigenous dishes.
Now, because of foods which are expensive and you can't even go to the market to cook for your children to eat within 3 days, that is why people don't prepare the ekiti. Looking at lack of equipment and how expensive plantain is, so they go in for the ones they sell, which is already prepared.
In a bid to interrogate the nutritional benefits of such indigenous dishes and its attendant health benefits, here is a senior dietitian of Kwesimintim Government Hospital, Prince Yali Apan.
Most of the local food ones, the cereals and other things that are consumed with this are not processed. They are complex carbohydrates in their natural state. So first of all, we get a lot of fiber in those foods that we eat. And then also introduction of the beans, our vegetables and all that also helps us with our vitamins and minerals. And then for most of these foods, the preparation is not compared to the convenience food that we take. So the introduction of oils, a lot of frying, a lot of salt and all that is not in this kind of food. So it also helps protect or the cardioprotective effect of us limit the risk of diabetes and hypertension in this way. So then indigenous food in themselves are very nutritious. Yes, that sometimes the issue is about the preparation method and how long it takes.
He further reveals how such indigenous menus can help, revealing how this will help in sustaining such menus to survive generations.
So I think one of the ways to help safeguard this situation or help bring back these foods into our system is one, parents introducing these foods to their kids at home. So as it said, charity begins at home. So I think a child and something like apapasa, home, then ekiti and all those things to or they send rice and beans and all that. Obviously, it will become normal because each and every child brings something similar to school and then they are introduced to it at the early age.
Guess this expose will make you bring back some of our indigenous menus on your home menu chart and also implore our restaurants to do same beyond Ghana Month to reduce our import food meal, which is over $3 billion annually, as well as ensure healthy lifestyles and arguably longer life dependency ratios. My name is Hajia Fatih Karim. Empire News nibbling on Bamfo Pesin after a good main meal of Upper Pransa.
That was a beautiful report by my colleague Hajia Fatih Karim. Now, away from that, President John Dramani Mahama has vowed to bring closure to unresolved murders of slain investigative journalist Ahmed Swali, late former Ibuakwa North MP JB Dankwa, and other extrajudicial killings. Speaking during a courtesy call by the Ghana Bar Association, President Mahama stressed on the need for accountability and rule of law, that justice must prevail for victims.
We're committed to the protection of human rights and investigation of significant killings or murders that have remained uninvestigated. And so I've urged the police and the investigative organizations to look more actively in cases like Ahmed Swali, and that is how come a first suspect has been arrested. We're hoping that his interrogation will lead to further arrests of people. There are several other cases like the JB Dankwa murder case, and we're asking that it be expedited in terms of the prosecution that is taking place and for investigations to be carried out to find out if any other persons were involved in some of those. And so those are ongoing.
And that is how we draw the curtain on today's edition of Star Today. Thank you very much for your company. For more news updates, kindly visit starfm.com.gh. I am Tutua Danso, and this bulletin was produced by Echo Anan, Benjamin Saki, Prince Essien, Edem Kujo, Mami Joa, Sister, and Emmanuel Donko. Make sure the stream was possible on our social media pages. We are back tomorrow with more news updates. Have a good evening.